Hey, what is up guys? My name is Austin and I am so glad that you're watching this video because today we are jumping into episode 2 of our new series, Dear Guys, a series in which we're talking to the guys out there about issues that we as guys need to own up to and overcome so that we can all move towards that better world that we all desire. And so today's topic is, Dear Guys, porn is a problem. But before we get started, I just want to make one thing really clear. I don't see my job as a Christian, or I don't see the job of any Christian, to put rules and regulations on people that don't have a relationship with Jesus. I believe that Jesus' message of grace, the great scandal of grace, is that Jesus invites us into a relationship with him before he forces us to conform to any rules or regulations, because it's in the context of relationship that we can understand better why Jesus puts these rules and regulations forth, why he puts these guidelines for our life, because he cares about us and wants our best. And so this is all simply to say that if you don't believe in Jesus, if you don't identify yourself as a Christian, this video is not here to tell you what to do or what not to do, because that's simply not my role. But I will say, even if you aren't a Christian, I hope you keep watching this video, because I think there's still things to learn from Jesus. Even if you never believe that he is God, I think that following his teaching will make your life better and make you better at life. So why not stick around and just see what this video has to say and what Jesus and the Bible have to say about this topic of pornography. When we talk about pornography, while there may not be a verse that says thou shalt not go to Pornhub, because I don't know, like the internet wasn't a thing when the Bible was written, I think it's pretty clear that pornography is contrary to the teachings of Jesus and the message of the Bible as a whole. And the most common argument that's made to show why pornography and the Christian worldview do not mesh is from the standpoint that porn fuels lust. And Jesus is very clear about lust in his teachings, and the Bible as a whole talks about the problem that is lust. And while that's a great argument, and I'm not setting it aside at all, and I don't want to downgrade it, I just simply think it's an argument you've probably heard a lot. And sometimes when you hear the same thing over and over and over again, it loses its power. You might be saying, Austin, I know that porn and lust go together, but I still struggle with it, and I still am struggling to see why porn's so bad. And so today I kind of want to look at porn from a little different angle and explore why porn for Christians is a problem. And it's like this. I see in the Bible this very clear message from beginning to end about the inherent value of each and every person. Whether it's in the very beginning when God tells us that he created us in his image, and all throughout the story as he talks about seeing us as his children with whom he loves so much that even after our rebellion from God, even after we turned our backs on God, God came into earth in the flesh and died on a cross so that he might restore his relationship with us. Even if we'd always turn away from him, he still reaches out his nail-scarred hand to us and says, my child, will you trust me? And so I think as Christians, it's our job to be very vigilant about adopting that same mindset, that if Jesus sees these people as inherently valuable, that they matter, that they have this inherent worth, then we need to adopt that same mindset and see people in that same way. And we need to be on the guard against any activity or anything that degrades or devalues another human, because that's contrary to what Jesus teaches. It's contrary to a Christian worldview to ever say that someone matters less and to portray someone's value as being less than what God props it up to be. And that is of infinite worth, someone worth dying for. And where I think this becomes very troublesome with porn is the way that it views women, the way that it equates their value with their ability to sexually please with their appearance. And given the fact that the average first exposure to porn is at the age of 11, it's not hard to see how porn can be a strong force to reshape a young person's mind and their view of women and sex. I believe God created sex to be a good thing, something that is mutually edifying for both parties, that's mutually consensual and builds each other up, and it's this beautiful, good thing. But I think porn cheapens that. I think porn places this view of women that says if they can't please you in this way, if they don't look like this perfect airbrushed person, if they cannot do this or that, well then they are somehow worth less than they would be otherwise. And anytime we see any activity degrading or devaluing someone, it's our job as Christians to stand up and say, hey, we don't support this because we believe in the value of every single person. See, something that is so dangerous with porn is the fact that our brains naturally crave new and novel, and porn has the ability to give us that. Last year alone, there were nearly 5 million new videos published to Pornhub, which is an insane number that I can barely wrap my head around. But what that means is every single day, every single hour, you could be consuming new and different, new and novel, something that no human being will ever be able to give you, which is why it's no surprise that porn consumption has been found to be linked to infidelity, because no person can give you that amount of new and novel that you have learned to crave from porn. I think something else that's super, super dangerous about porn that we need to recognize, hey, dear guys, porn is a problem. When studies found that 88% of pornographic videos featured violence against women, either physical or verbal, and we as men need to stand up and say that is not okay, that we cannot be subjecting anyone to violence, but especially people who might be in a more vulnerable position. That is not okay, and we need to stand up and say, hey, we're just not going to be a part of that. And something that I want to say that's really important is that this video is not here to guilt or shame you if you are caught in a cycle of pornography, if you are caught in an addiction or just compulsive watching of pornography, or if you just enjoy watching pornography. This is not here to guilt or shame you. I think the Christian community has done way too much of that, and I believe, and I made a whole video on that, that as a Christian, there is no guilt for you. There should be no guilt. And like I said, I made a whole video on why Christians shouldn't feel guilt, and you should go check it out if that just sounds completely contradictory to you. But I don't believe that getting caught in these cycles of guilt and shame are going to help you break your addiction to pornography. Because what happens when we find ourselves in these cycles of guilt and shame, they become just that. They become a cycle in which we do this thing that we feel guilty about, and then that guilt causes us to feel bad about ourselves, so we move into isolation. When we're feeling bad, what we crave most is a quick shot of dopamine, something to make us feel better, and we have this tried and true dopamine provider in porn, so there we go again, and then the cycle continues. We feel bad about ourselves, we crave dopamine, we want to feel better, and there's more porn. We get isolated, and oh, what do we do in isolation? Boom, there we go again. So I think the solution is not guilt or shame. I am not here to tell you that you are bad, that you are going to hell for this, that God is mad at you. There is nothing you could ever do to change God's love for you. There's nothing you could ever do to change God's love for you. Jesus died for you as you were still a sinner. He didn't wait for you to come around. Jesus doesn't say, I'll love you when you clean up. I'll love you when you conform to my rules and regulations. Jesus says, I want a relationship with you. Will you reach out and take my outstretched, nail-scarred hand? But while I don't want this to be about guilt and shame, I do want this to be about conviction, about calling you back to the version of you that you were always created to be. You see, God doesn't make rules just for the sake of making rules, but God tells us these things so that we can become whole, so that we can live as the most true version of ourselves, as we can walk into our full potential. And I believe your full potential is found in a life without porn. Because I don't want you to just run away from porn, but I want you to run to something. We're not just running away from porn because it's bad, but we're running away from porn because we have a better picture of what it looks like to live a good and healthy life. You see, we run away from porn for the sake of our future partner. We run away from porn because we say, you know, I'm going to opt out of this industry that is subjugating, this industry that is devaluing women. I'm going to opt out of this industry that is a $15 billion industry that is known to be abusive to women, to treat them in horrible ways. And so what if I can't change everything for everyone by opting out? It will still be a big machine, but what if enough of us opt out that maybe we change everything for someone? Maybe one person doesn't get caught up in the industry and get caught in this cycle of thinking that this is the only way that they can find a sense of value or purpose or a sense of employment, or be caught up in the current of this. Maybe we could be a hero for one person. And I know it might be hard for you to quit, and I get that. And you're not alone in this, and there's so many great online resources out there to help you with this, but the best resource is to get into community, to bring a light to this issue. Our issues have a way of dying once we take them out of the darkness and bring them into a light. If you get with an accountability partner, someone who can call you out in love and say, hey, this isn't you. You're a new creation. This is not who you are. And in fact, I want to speak life into who you are. You are a person who can be free of this. And so you get with that person who encourages you, who checks up on you and says, hey, we can do this together. We're in this together. I want to see you be the you that you were always meant to be. So dear guys, porn is a problem. Dear guys, porn is something that we need to flee, but we're not just running away from it, but we're running towards something better, or fleeing porn for the sake of our future marriage, for the world that we want to create, for the world that you want your kids to live in, for the world that you want vulnerable people to live in. You're fleeing this to create the world that you were always meant to. You were fleeing this to be the you that you were always meant to be. Dear guys, we're called to so much more, and you can be so much more. You're not a victim, but you can be a victor in this. Dear guys, porn is a problem, but we can overcome it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. It really means the world to me that you would just give me your time and check out this video. So I hope you got something from it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to let me know. Leave a comment, click like, and most of all, if you're not subscribed yet, be sure to do that. You'll be able to see the next content we come out with. And if you want to be the first to see it, click the notification bell next to subscribe. New content should be coming out about twice every week, and so I hope that you guys stay tuned and just become a part of this community that we're building here, of people that are just passionate about Jesus but want to talk about it in a real, honest, and open way. So if that's you, join the community, become part of the family, and I just appreciate you guys so much. So I'll see you next time, but until then, go out and live fully, spread love, peace, love you guys.